when a person becomes a Buddha, doesn't matter if the person is male or female, when a person becomes a Buddha, that person has the capacity to be of tremendous benefit to others. The best benefit a person can be to others when they become a Buddha is teaching the Dharma. Why? If you teach someone the Dharma, and they understand the Dharma, and their minds transform, everything in their life changes. Why? If it is outside objects that make us happy or unhappy, then if we change the outside objects, we have to always be happy. If it is our mind that changes, that makes us happy or unhappy, then when we change our mind, everything on the outside seems like it has changed. So the main function of a Buddha is to teach us the Dharma. At the same time, when one becomes a Buddha, one gains control of one's body. One gets control of one's own body. And one's body can have what we call Nirmanakaya emanations. A Nirmanakaya emanation means the Buddha sending forth replicas of itself to different places, to different people, to different dimensions, to teach, to help, and to benefit. So these Buddhas, when they gain the power, can emanate in different forms in order to be a benefit to others. So these are what we call Nirmanakayas. Hence, we say all the Buddhas are the same. When we say all the Buddhas are the same, there's a basis, there's a reason, there's a logic. It isn't simply for convenience sake, oh, they're the same. They're the same is because their nature is to benefit others. So hence, within our system, there are many different types of Buddhas. Why are there many different types of Buddhas? Because the different types of Buddhas help different types of attitudes, needs, and minds. Some people is very intelligent, but is always sick. Medicine Buddha is very helpful. Some people is very healthy, but mind a little bit slow to understand things. So Tsongkhapa Buddha or Manjushri Buddha, very helpful. Some people have people always trying to harm them, always trying to send magic or trying to hurt them or trying to bring them down because they're jealous. So for these people, they need a protective Buddha. We call a protector, a Dharma protector. So Dharma protectors are very powerful to protect these type of people from these type of harms. Then for some of us, we need help in business. Maybe we need to support our families or things are not going well. So if we supplicate the Buddha of activities such as Dada, it increases our business very much. Sometimes we love our mother, we love our father, and we care about them a lot, and they're very sick, or they're not well, and we're very worried. Simply being worried and crying doesn't help. So what we can do is we can invoke on the blessings of white Dada. If we invoke upon the blessings of white Dada, and we do the meditations correctly, we do the mantra correctly, and we dedicate it toward our beautiful mother or father, it extends their life and heals them. So different Buddhas have different functions. They manifest in order to suit different needs that we have. Different needs. Now, if we're very depressed, we don't have a purpose in life, and we don't know where we're going, we don't have a direction, and we feel very lost. We feel very, very, why are we awake? What are we doing? What's my purpose? This type of depression can become very deep. Then the Buddha Tsongkhapa is very powerful. So maybe your business okay. If I ask all of you, how's your business? Of course all of you will say, not bad. No one will ever say my business is good. But if your business is okay, you're healthy, you have enough food, sometimes you think, but why am I always unhappy? Why do things make me unhappy? And we don't know why, we can't solve it. By making meditations and prayers to the Buddha Tsongkhapa, our minds become very settled, very calm, very, very happy. And you know what's incredible? Is that we're able to withstand difficult situations. We'll see our mind transform in that way. Buddha Tsongkhapa can transform that. Now, when Buddha gave Dharma teachings 2,500 years ago, during that time, there was no internet. There was no TV. There was no electricity. There was no airplanes, no cars, nothing. People was born, They stayed in their village, they married, and they had children, and they got old, and they died in their village. So there was nothing much to do. That was it. So when Buddha taught the teachings, or taught Dharma, it was very easy for people to stay home and meditate. It was very easy for people to stay home and do their prayers, do their meditate, and gain high accomplishments. Very easy. Today, although we have many modern conveniences, our time to do spiritual practice has become less. Very less. So hence, Buddha knew that. Buddha, during his lifetime, set forth a set of teachings to help people of this age and time, where our minds are full of contradictions. Happiness, unhappiness, worry, anger, lust, miserliness, feeling senselessness, feeling depression, very, very strong, and we don't find any solution. So Buddha at that time set forth a type of teachings, and those teachings are called Vajrayogini Tantra. So when we look at Vajrayogini, she's a beautiful lady, a beautiful female, standing looking up in the sky. That's all we know. But there's a lot more meaning to her. Every single part of her body, her pose, and her demeanor, and her expression, and her color has a very deep Dharma meaning. For example, her body is naked. Her body is naked, and she stands in such a way that doesn't show modesty. And the reason for that is, during our time, people's desire and lust has become very strong. People will kill, and people will do all types of negative actions for lust. And many people become hurt due to lustful actions of others. So lustful actions in our time, in our era, has become very strong. So to counter that energy, Vajrayogini manifests in a naked form. Meaning, this is the time where lustful energy is most pervasive. Then, her body is red in color. Her body is red in color, not in the statue of course, in her principal body it's red in color. Red in color representing the energy of control. White is pacification. Yellow is increase. Black or blue is control. Is wrath or ferociousness. Red is the color of control. Why? When we practice Vajrayogini's Tantra, we gain the power to control our minds. We gain the power to control our lusts and our desires. Why? So we don't hurt other people. Let me tell you, when I travel, I've met so many people who are married. For the first few years, they're all right. Later on, the partners split. Because they met this, they met this, they met this, met this. And due to meeting all these different partners, they break their family up. They disappoint their children. They hurt everyone that they hold sacred because they cannot control their lust. Vajrayogini, when you practice, the lustful energy becomes controlled. Hence, she's naked and red. Okay? Second, her hand holds a cemetery knife. In ancient India, and in ancient Nepal, and in current day Tibet, our cemeteries are not like Western cemeteries where we bury people and put a headstone on. Our cemeteries in ancient India, Nepal, and currently in Tibet is using our body to feed the animals. The reason is because, we call that dutru. The reason for that is the last act of generosity towards others before we take our rebirth. So therefore, in the Tibetan tradition, they will cut the bodies after the monks have done prayers, and they will mix it with flour, tsamba, barley flour, and they will feed it to the animals with prayers. It is not viciously cut and just thrown. It is given away to the animal as a last act of charity. Because our whole life, we've been using others, so we give something back. So therefore, in the cemetery of ancient India, and Nepal, and Tibet, they use a special knife. That knife is what she's holding. The front part is curved down, the other part is curved up. The reason is because they use that knife in cemeteries to cut the body, cut the skull, and then the hook is used to pull out the internal organs, to pulverize and to feed the animals and to make prayers. My body, I offer back to the planet. I offer back to others. It's a last act of spiritual generosity. So hence, Vajrayogini holds that knife. What does it mean? To remind you, no matter how beautiful, or how rich, or how powerful, or how long your life is, one day you're going to die. You have to die. So before you die, death and the time after death is longer than the time you are alive. So therefore, before you die, transform yourself, change yourself, convert yourself, and make yourself be of benefit to others. Don't live your life to take care of yourself. If you always take care of yourself, you will be continuously unhappy. If you think of others, you will be happy. So hence, people like Mother Teresa, always thinking about other people. How did she live her life? When we see her, we go to get her blessing. People like Mahatma Gandhi, how did he live his life? Always thinking about others. So even in our family, if we have one family member who's always concerned about others and caring, we're naturally drawn towards them. So this knife that she holds is not to harm you or to hurt you. It is to remind you, one day you will pass away. Please, don't waste your life on selfish pursuits alone. Secondly, she points it down. She points it down, why? Not to the sky. She points it down symbolically is because if we worship and practice Vajrayogini correctly, not simply just offer butter lamps, we worship her correctly, she can protect us from all types of black magic, spirits, and interferences. Very, very powerful. In fact, in the Tibetan tradition, there is no text or teaching to send black magic to others or to harness the powers of evil or spirits. But there are texts to stop their interferences. Why? Because it's a fact that there are people who practice the black arts and they will send to harm us. Whether other people believe it or not, I myself have seen it happen to people with my own eye. In Singapore, in Malaysia, Hong Kong. I've seen in Thailand. So definitely it exists. So what happens is that when we practice Vajrayogini very strongly and very well, the knife is a threat. It's a divine threat to interferences and spirits. Do not disturb my devotees. They are under my protection. That is a symbolism for a knife. And it's pointing down, not up, because negative is not supposed to ascend to heaven. Heaven is this way. Negative or hell is this way. It's symbolic. So when she points down, there's nothing there that will harm you, but there are things there that will harm you. So she's pointing down to represent, I will protect my true devotee from harm, from spirits and black magic. So therefore, in the Tibetan tradition, there's a few texts that are very powerful for doing exorcism, meaning if someone is taking possession of an evil spirit, one of them is Vajrayogini's text. We call it Doji Nejima Gikako, or Vajrayogini's stopping of interferences. Very, very powerful. Her other hand, that's what her right hand represents, pointing down. And then her hand, you have to notice, she's a very beautiful lady, but her mudra, or her hand gesture, is in threatening. In ancient times, in India, because all this arose from beautiful India, in ancient times, this was used as a threat. People who had magic, they will say something, they will curse you, and they will point at you like that, those who have power. So this is a mudra of threatening. Mudra. So her mudra is that of threatening. Although her mind is compassion and love, she's showing that as a symbolism. Nothing can threaten me. Nothing can harm me. I have achieved already full Buddhahood. My devotees, those who worship and practice my meditations will have the same power as me. So she's showing that mudra, threatening. All right. Then her other hand is holding a kapala. The other hand is holding a kapala, and that one she's drinking divine nectar from it. She's holding that kapala means what? When we receive food or nourishment, our body feels filled, our body feels full, our belly is satisfied. We don't feel hunger. Like that, those who practice Vajrayogini, those who worship Vajrayogini, will receive the Dharma from a qualified teacher. So those who worship Vajrayogini, they will create the karma that they will meet a good teacher. Not necessarily me, a good teacher that can explain the Dharma, share the Dharma, and teach the Dharma with them over time. So she holds this kapala like this, drinking it, and feeling and smiling, drinking the nectar. Why? When we receive the Dharma, our minds become happy. Why does our minds become happy when we receive Dharma? Because many questions get answered. Many doubts become cleared. and many things that have been disturbing us, we can find a solution within ourselves. So therefore, she holds a kapala in the air. Why? Drinking, meaning those who worship Vajrayogini will receive teachings, will receive the Dharma continuously to fill their minds, so they can become very happy. Then, her hair is different than other Buddhas. Most Buddhas have their hair, male or female, half is tied up, half is let loose. Her hair is very special. Her hair is completely let loose, down, straight. Nothing is tied up. Meaning what? If you worship Vajrayogini, you don't need any other deities, any other Buddhas. She is free from all binding, attachment, and suffocation of the world. Anything in the world that can make a person suffer is like suffocation or binding or being tied up. She's free from that. Because she is free from that, if you practice her meditation, you yourself will be same as her, free. Therefore, her hair is loose. Now, a lot of ladies wear their hair loose, but previous times, if ladies wear their hair loose, it's considered not modest. Correct? Now it's already modern. Tibet, also same. Even in America last night, if you just let your hair loose, the only time you let your hair loose is before you go to sleep. So they think, oh, this lady, not very modest. She let her hair down. Vajrayogini tells everybody, I don't care what you think. I'm very not modest. So she let her hair down because she's a feminist. Why is she a feminist? She is not controlled by anyone anymore. No one. So her hair is loose, not to mean she's loose. Not to mean she's wild and she doesn't have any morals. Her hair is loose means she is free of all conventions. She is free of our good and bad. She's a Buddha, free. That's the meaning. Then, she stands with her leg bent and one outstretched. And she steps on two different types of beings. You can't see it here. She steps on two different types of being. The being on the left is a male being with the head stretched backwards. The tip of her foot steps on the forehead. The heel of her foot steps on the heart area of the back. And that represents, if you do her sadhana and her meditation every single day, you will eliminate ignorance and hatred. So stepping on the forehead is representative of ignorance. Stepping on the heart is representative of destroying anger. So when you practice her, her face is slightly angry, means she absorbs her anger. When you are free of anger, very, very happy. Great happiness comes. So she's stepping on this deity very strongly, representing, it's not a real person. It's symbolic that she will destroy ignorance and anger. On the right, her leg, she's stepping on a female. She's stepping on the breast of the female, representing, if you practice her, all negativity that can arise from lustful desire, harmful lustful desire, not a husband and wife together, people who do lustful desire wrongly and create very big disharmony in their families will be eliminated. So therefore, her symbolism of stepping left and right is very powerful, because when you worship Vajrayogini, it isn't just worship a Bhagavati or a Bhagawan and they just bless you. No. When you worship her, the real way to worship her is you have to do her meditations every single day. And the meditation is designed to transform your mind. So her stepping on the two figures is symbolic of destroying ignorance, hatred, and desire. And her face has two moods. We have two moods on her face. One of great ecstasy, smiling, happiness. Why? She doesn't have to ever experience what we experience again. So she's very happy. The other expression is a slight anger, like this. So she's not like the ferocious deities where the eyes are bulging, but she has a slight anger. Why? When she sees you suffer, she's angry. When she sees the negative results of your karma coming back to you, she's angry. When she sees you having to die and take rebirth again and again and again, she's angry. She's not angry at you, she's angry at the karma. So hence, her smile is to tell you, if you learn the Dharma, you will eradicate all suffering. Her anger is not at you, but at your suffering. Simultaneously, her slightly wrathful face also represents elimination of obstacles we can experience every single day. So obstacles that come, difficulties that come from humans and non-humans, disturbances, people want to harm us, any kind of harm they want to do to us. Her face shows anger or wrath, means she will protect you. So her symbolism is like that. Then, her face is looking up. And that is very powerful symbolism. That is symbolic of, if you practice her tantra, very, very well, and you do it correctly, you will every single lifetime, for 14 lifetimes, take rebirth in a place where you will hear about her name. You will meet lamas that practice her. Lamas doesn't mean Tibetan, means people. You will also come across her tantra, you will also receive the initiation, and you'll be able to practice it to reach a higher and higher level. Because the purpose of Buddhism is not to worship a deity that they grant what you want. The purpose of Buddhism is to transform your own mind to become that one with that deity, so you yourself become a Buddha. So hence, the special feature of Vajrayogini's Tantra is this. 3 special features. 1, if you have a very good relationship with your teacher, you stick with one teacher, you follow one teacher, you don't run here, run there, run there. Why? So that you don't become confused. You stick with one teacher and you follow your one teacher very well. That's 1. Second is you hold the vows and commitments associated with Vajrayogini. There are certain commitments and vows you need to hold. For example, not killing, not stealing. Certain commitments. Third is every 10th and 25th of the lunar month, there's a Tok day. We do a Tok puja. You can do it at your home. Every 10th and 25th. Then you recite her mantra, which is very secret. You cannot receive that without initiation. With correct faith and diligence. And you do that practice. If you have these 4 requirements there, it is said, if you do it well in this life, your body will be taken to Kichara paradise. Kichara is the realm where Vajrayogini resides. The English word will be heaven, but it is an abode. So it is a place. Tushita heaven, Western heaven, paradise, Amitabha's heaven. Each Buddha has a place that they reside, emanated from their body. Vajrayogini's paradise, or Vajrayogini's heaven, is called Kichara paradise. Okay? So what we call in Sanskrit is Kichara paradise, or Kichara. Okay? In Tibetan we call it Kachushin. So therefore, she's the queen of Kichara. When we do her practice correctly, we can ascend to her Kichara paradise with this body. That's the best practitioner. The second type of practitioner, 1 ring down. So if you're not the best, you have hope. You can be the next one. Alright, the next one. The second one is within 14 lifetimes. Every time you die, you take rebirth. You die, you take rebirth. You will practice her until you reach a very high state. She's a karma deity, a deity that follows you every single lifetime. The minute you hear about her, 2 reactions will come. Interest or I don't like. That's a very clear sign you have connection with her. You'll meet people who talk about her. You'll see her image. You'll see something related to her, and you become fascinated. That's a sign that you have a very strong connection with her. Third, for the third practitioner, very lazy, very slow, and spend very little time. Very little time, right? 14 lifetimes you will ascend her heaven. Middling one is at the time of death you ascend her heaven. That means at the time of death, when you die, when your winds and your body dissolves, you have very subtle hearing, very subtle eyes. You will perceive her body, her countenance. She will take you to her paradise. It is confirmed. So hence, her benefits is very powerful because she doesn't really concentrate on things in this life because we live for a very short time. She helps you at the time of death and after death. So hence, I propagate this practice to my friends around the world because my teacher passed it to me many years ago, 20 years plus. And my teacher told me, for lazy people, for busy people, and for people who think they're busy, and who don't want to spend time on spirituality much, but they still want to be spiritual, she's the best practice. Why? Her practice among all the Buddhas is quicker and swifter, although you spend little time. Think about that. You do little, but get great benefits. Isn't that perfect for all of us wonderful lazy people in here? Wonderful. Including me. I'm very lazy. So I named my whole Dharma organization after her. Kechara is her heaven. I named it after her. I told my students to expect her practice in the future. And I propagate her because she's one of the most easiest practices to do in this life for people of our generation and time. And in Nepal, we have 4 very powerful temples dedicated to Vajrayogini. Because let me tell you something. The Vajrayogini lineage came 2,500 years ago from Buddha Shakyamuni. Shakyamuni taught it to his disciple, then their disciple, and their disciple, their disciple, and passed it to a long line of great masters. And they passed the lineage down. The lineage was passed to Nepal. So a few Nepali masters, particularly called the Pamtinka brothers, received her initiation, her transmission, and her meditation from the Indian masters. And they practiced it in Nepal. From Nepal, it was passed to Tibet. So therefore, when we do Vajrayogini's prayers every day, we have to recite the name of the gurus from the first up to the present. Within that, you have the Pamtinka brothers. The Pamtinka brothers are very famous in Nepal for practicing Vajrayogini and spreading the Vajrayogini tradition in Nepal. Hence, in Nepal, you have 4 very powerful known Vajrayogini temples. You have one in where? David?
Hopping.
1, 2.
Vijayaswari,
correct, which is near Tamil. Next?
Sanku.
Correct. Third? Last one?
Patan.
Correct. So when I bring my students and friends to Nepal, I've been bringing for 20 years now to visit all the Vajrayoginis. Why? Coming to beautiful Nepal is one of my most favorite places in the world. You can ask these people. One of my most favorite. When I come to beautiful Nepal, I like to bring my people here because when they go to these temples, it's so powerful, it's so energized. They go there to make offerings, they get a blessing. But it doesn't stop there. When they go home, when they do their prayers and meditations, it's very, very powerful. So that's why I've been bringing people to Nepal for many years. Every time I come, bring about 60. I don't allow too many because it's too big, the crowd. Every time I come, I bring about 60. All the time. And I bring them to all these temples to pray. Then at each temple, I give them a Dharma talk. At each temple, I explain what prayers we should do, the significance, what's the purpose, what's the benefit. Because all of us are spiritual. All of us in our own way. But we can be only truly spiritual if someone gives us knowledge. So if someone gives us knowledge, and someone gives us prayers, or someone teaches us the meaning or why, then intelligent people like you can accept. So my job is to explain why, like what we're doing right now. If I explain to you step by step, when you leave here, whether you pray to Vajrayogini or believe or not, it doesn't matter. But I share some knowledge with you. Share some knowledge. So at least when you leave this place, I have shared our common culture together. I'm Tibetan. You're Nepali. But we're neighbors for thousands of years. We've shared culture, religion, Dharma, and food. Many, many great Tibetan masters have come to Nepal to study. Many great Nepalese masters have gone to Tibet to disseminate Dharma. Many. So therefore, we have something very common. Today, you asked a very beautiful question, and I'm very happy to share with you. I gave you a little bit of information about Vajrayogini. The first step is, because her body represents the destruction of desire, the destruction of anger, and the destruction of lust. When we see her body, because it's the body of a Buddha, we're not looking at a beautiful, naked lady. No. When we see her body, it plants the seeds in our mind to achieve what she has achieved. Hence, if we promote her body by statues and tankas to people, and we have them put them under shrine and worship and do puja, they will create the karma for them to receive those benefits. Why? If you come to see me and you worship me, nothing will happen. Nothing. I'm just a human being just like you. The difference, I always tell people, I know a little bit more Dharma than you. That's all. So what you know, I learn from you. What I know, you learn from me. So we share. So therefore, I'm not holy. I don't have any powers. I'm nothing. But if I share with you about something holy and we pray, we can get the benefits. Hence, I've been coming to Nepal for 20 years and getting many Vajrayogini statues. I promote Vajrayogini to people. And I also promote other deities. But primarily, I promote Vajrayogini to people because I feel she will be the most beneficial for all my friends. That includes my new friends. I don't see her. I don't have any dreams. She doesn't talk to me. I can't hear her. Nothing. I'm just like you. I have to worship her and do her meditations. But I believe in her because my gurus all practice her and worship her. This guru, Kabongka Rinpoche in particular, he's passed away. This guru in Tibet was famous for having visions of Vajrayogini. Famous. That was confirmed by the 13th Dalai Lama. Not just somebody just saying, oh, I can see. No. Famous for it. This guru had thousands and thousands of students. In Tibet, when he taught Dharma, not less than 1,000 people will attend. And you have to understand, people will walk from all parts of Tibet for months to attend his teachings. He was very famous for having visions of Vajrayogini, talking and speaking to her. So he promoted her very much. Although he was a master of all Dharma, all Tantra, a great, great master, he promoted Vajrayogini because he said it will benefit people today. Trijang Rinpoche. Who is Trijang Rinpoche? Trijang Rinpoche is the root guru of the 14th Dalai Lama. The 14th Dalai Lama has two gurus, Ling Rinpoche and Trijang Rinpoche. Trijang Rinpoche is not an ordinary guru. He is the guru of the Dalai Lama himself. So when the Dalai Lama gives teachings, often Dalai Lama will refer, Trijang Rinpoche said this, Trijang Rinpoche said that, Trijang Rinpoche said this, Trijang Rinpoche wrote this, and Trijang Rinpoche wrote many, many Dharma books. And he's the personal teacher of His Holiness, the great 14th Dalai Lama. So if the 14th Dalai Lama could kowtow and prostrate and learn from him, what he says must be correct. And his disciple is Soren Rinpoche, one of the greatest masters in Tibet, to leave Tibet and to escape. And Soren Rinpoche was very famous for having terrific tantric power. Terrific. And so Soren Rinpoche, Trijang Rinpoche, all promoted Vajrayogini. In Soren Rinpoche's house, he has a very large statue of Vajrayogini, this size also, that he worships and does practice. When he died in full control, in full meditation. This is no joke. So hence, I didn't see Vajrayogini. I cannot validate, and I cannot promise you from my side because I'm normal. But I can tell you what I told you confidently because of what my gurus share with me. I'm not great, but my guru is very great. And their gurus are very great. So therefore, I can talk to you about Vajrayogini. I can explain about Vajrayogini very openly and very confidently because of what my great masters have taught. So when Tibet lost its country, the Dharma was brought back to India through these great masters from their incredible knowledge. Incredible knowledge. So therefore, Vajrayogini, seeing Vajrayogini, worshipping Vajrayogini, making offerings to Vajrayogini, and keeping her close to you will create the karma for you to achieve her attainments. Why? In Buddhism, you don't just sit there and worship God and hope they give you everything. In Buddhism, worship is the first step of becoming them. First step. So that's very important. So even in our organization, I encourage them to practice Vajrayogini. Although they all wear Vajrayogini pendants, they all have Vajrayogini statues, they don't know her prayer, they don't know her mantra, they don't have anything having to do with her because I'm preparing them for her practice later. Her practice cannot be given when you're new. You have to have a solid foundation first. Then when you do her practice, be very efficient. Example, before you can drive an airplane or fly an airplane, you have to learn how to drive a car. You have to drive another moving vehicle. You can't just get inside an airplane. Before you can drive a speeding race car, you have to drive a very simple car first. Correct? So therefore, before you can do Vajrayogini's practice, although she's quick and efficient and very efficacious, you have to learn preliminary practices. So before we do Vajrayoginis practice, a very beneficial practice to prepare is Lama Tsongkhapa. Lama Tsongkhapa, when we practice and we worship correctly, we gain wisdom, compassion, and skillful methods. We know how to approach people skillfully. We gain these qualities. And it's a very, very powerful practice to do in the beginning. So therefore, I don't promote a lot of deities. I don't promote a lot of gods. Why? You become confused. But if you wish to worship another deity, oh, I'm very happy. I have no problems. No problem at all. But if you come to my domain, if that's the right word, then I promote what my teachers have taught me. Alright, so keeping a Vajrayogini image, very, very beneficial. Very, very, very beneficial. And sometimes you may think, oh, I'm still young, I'm still alright. But you know what? Keeping a Vajrayogini image and making offerings of butter lamps for her, for like your parents, is very, very beautiful. Why? Sometimes we don't need anything. But what can we give back to our parents who've taken care of us, who love us, who've done so much for us? We can give them food, we can massage them, we can cook for them, we can tell them nice words, we can, fan them when it's hot, put on the air conditioning when it's cold, and we can do all that for them. But what happens to them when they die? We don't have any power. So if we worship Vajrayogini for our parents, it's very, very powerful. Every single day we offer a butter lamp or a candle or incense to Vajrayogini. We do our prayer, we dedicate it to our parents. Why? It's called repaying their kindness. Very, very important. So there are many reasons. Many, many reasons. This one is new. This one just arrived recently. Paul made it for me. Because I've been wanting to have a big Vajrayogini for the longest time. And I can't find it. I've been coming to Nepal for 20 years looking for big ones. All over. But I can't find the one that I like. Because why? Let me explain why. The way she stands, the way she sits, the way she stands, her expression, her body, all is not arbitrary. It's not simply made. We cannot just simply make it. It has to be according to the description in the Dharma texts. The way she stands, her position, her color, her expression must be perfect according to this. If it's not perfect, we simply make it, the tradition will be lost. And the blessings will not be real. Hence, I do like that. What I hope is everyone will have a beautiful, large image of Vajrayogini and keep in their house and worship and pray. Let me tell you why. It will benefit everyone. It will bless everyone. And when I first brought that to Malaysia, here in Nepal, you look at it and say, okay, we're used to it. Imagine I brought her to Malaysia the first time. Well, they freaked out. They freaked out. They went, oh, that's not a Buddha. What's that? Because her face then she's naked. And she's standing like that. They cannot believe this is a Buddha. But now, they all know she's a Buddha and they love her. Last time they don't know. But I think for Nepalese, much easier to accept. You may not know anything about her, but you're exposed to her since a young age. Looking up in the sky is also representative that she will bring you to her level very, very quickly if you do her meditations correctly. Alright? Once you receive her initiation, Wang. Once you receive her oral transmission, Lung. Once you receive her mantra and prayer, you don't need to receive any other deities. You just do this one quietly at home. Very, very beneficial. And she's good because she's very good for lay people. Her benefit is large. The time you need to spend on her is very small. That's the benefits. I told you in short form. Short form. If I talk long, it could be many days because she has many profound qualities. There are 4 classes of Tantra. Kriya, Charya, Yoga, Anuttara Yoga. Anuttara Yoga Tantra deities, mantras cannot be given. Cannot be given to others. Okay? Charya, Kriya, Yoga can be given. Example, Charya, Kriya, Yoga deities are Manjushri, Tara, Saraswati, Vajrapani. Those are Kriya and Yoga Tantra deities. Those mantras can be given. Highest tantric deities such as Vajrayogini, Yamataka, Chakrasambhara, and Hevacha, Kalachaka cannot be given without initiation. Let me explain Why? With those mantras, it's not simply reciting the mantras. When you receive those mantras, there's also a meditation. And there's also a type of visualization in which you move the winds in your body. We have 5 main chakras. Within the 5 main chakras, we have 72,000 psychic channels. The 72,000 psychic channels converge into 5 chakras. The 5 chakras converge into 3 main arteries. The 3 main arteries converge into 1 artery, Avaduti or Tsauma. It converges there. So what happens is, when we are alive, the winds travel through all of our psychic channels. When we die, the winds dissolve and come here. When we have been practicing Tantra correctly, we have control of the wind and we can leave our body at will and take rebirth at will. When we don't practice Tantra, when we die, we can only pray and hope for the best. No control. Wind we can control. So hence, when you recite any of the higher yoga tantra deities, the higher tantra deities, along with the mantra, you have to do the meditation on the wind. The mantra will move the wind. The mantra will help you control the wind. Why? The mantra is not to gain the favor of the deity. The mantra is to gain control over your own body. Hence, if you simply recite the mantra and you don't do the meditation well, it will have no effect. It will create a misunderstanding in other people's minds that it has no power. The second thing is, if you do the wind meditation wrong with the mantra, your mind can go a little bit off. So higher tantric deities such as Vajrayogini, Yamataka, Hiruka, Hevajra, Kala Chakra cannot be given without initiation. That means you must go to a qualified teacher. The teacher teaches you the Dharma. The teacher observes your action and your behavior and your mind. And when you're ready, the teacher will pass you the meditation and the practice. That's why sticking to one teacher and having faith in one teacher is very, very important. So therefore, at the right time, the teacher will pass to you. Hence, Om Tari Tu Tari Tari Sa, Om Arabasanadi, Om Mani Peme Hom, Om Sorasati Krim Krim. Those are lower tantric deity mantras you can pass. So Om Sorasati Krim Krim is Saraswati. Om Tari Tu Tari Tari Sa Tara, Om Arabasanadi Manjushri, Om Mani Peme Hom Chenezi. Those, no danger. Because with those meditations, you don't have the winds. You don't have any of the winds. So therefore, no danger. So hence, we cannot get Vajrayogini's mantra until we have been initiated correctly. Okay?